Alright, you guys, ZFR back here, and I know you guys have probably missed me for the past week, and pretty much the reason I've been missing is I've been grinding out Destiny 2 Shadow Keep so I can release kind of like a mini review for you guys. Now, this isn't going to be a super in-depth review. I haven't checked out every single thing the DLC has to offer, especially like all the post-campaign stuff and all that. So there's still plenty I'm sure I haven't run across quite yet. However, this review that I'm going to do is going to be based mostly off of the story and campaign for Shadowkeep, because that's what I'm really interested in. That's what I was hoping was going to kind of really stand out and surprise us. I probably am going to talk a little bit about the gameplay and stuff and just some of the new things that I saw added, but for the most part this video is going to be focused around the Shadowkeep campaign. Alright, so pretty much before we get into this, just a quick warning. The first half of this video I'm going to try to stay completely spoiler free, and then in the second half we are going to talk heavy spoilers for Shadowkeep's campaign. Now, Shadowkeep's campaign didn't contain a lot of story, but be warned, the little bit of story that it did contain was some pretty massive stuff for all of Destiny. I mean, like, in terms of going forward and what we've seen from both Destiny 1 and 2, this DLC probably contained one of the most important cutscenes and concepts we've seen so far in Destiny. Like, something that completely paves the road for Destiny 3. So just be warned, if you haven't played it for yourself, if you haven't seen the last mission, the last cutscene, then you might want to keep your ear open for when I say we're heading into the spoiler section. So yeah, let's get into this. Okay, so on to the spoiler-free section of this review. So really quickly, the story in this DLC was good. There were two moments specifically that stood out to me a lot and really were some of the best stuff we've seen in Destiny. One was in the first mission, and one was pretty much the entire last mission was great. But however, it's kind of same old with Destiny, where they have this really interesting and cool concept, but they just, I don't know, they just seem like they don't want to use it almost. I mean, it feels like they are 100% holding back a lot of content for future stuff, and that's a little bit aggravating considering you just paid $35 for this DLC. I'm not gonna lie, I could have used a little bit more of that storytelling in there, and I think once again they did a great job with the first mission and the second mission. I mean, the first mission and the last mission, but everything else in between that was filler. You could pretty much remove it and have the same result. Like, that's pretty much the campaign. The campaign might as well be two missions, at least in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, the stuff in between is fun gameplay wise, but it just doesn't hold a ton of relevance story wise. Like, they didn't make us care about it enough. You know, I don't know. That's been a pretty constant problem with Destiny. You know, it seems like they don't want to really go the traditional storytelling route with cutscenes and, you know, the more cinematic gameplay. They want to stick to, you know, the more kind of, I don't want to say RPG-ish, but the kind of RPG, open world, co-op type gameplay style. And I think that really does still hurt the campaign. But anyway, moving on to some of the other cool stuff, they did revamp the leveling and reward system, and they feel a lot better. Really was enjoying like leveling up and getting new rewards and stuff. It felt a lot more satisfying. in this DLC. I did notice that. A lot of cool weapons and stuff, obviously, but a lot of them did seem like they were from Taken King, so be prepared for that. I haven't gotten a crazy amount of weapons from Shadowkeep exclusively from what I've seen. And matter of fact, I ended up using some of my old Taken King weapons throughout this DLC and until like the later parts of the story where I start getting some of the cool weapons from different quests and stuff. But yeah, overall, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, it has a lot of really good quality of life going forward type changes. You know, it's really one of those DLCs that's going to make Destiny 3 a better game, I want to say. It definitely is a step up gameplay wise, and you know, structure wise, system wise, all that stuff. I think they did a good job in that department. It's just that story. But anyway, that's the spoiler free section. If you enjoyed it, definitely let me know. But yeah, if you haven't played the end of this DLC, or if you haven't gotten to the end or beaten it, you definitely want to get out here, because once again, massive spoilers incoming. You've been warned. Alright, so the spoiler free portion of the review is done. Let's talk about these spoilers now. So the first mission, when you turned that corner and saw the pyramid, my mouth was dropped wide open. And I had my buddy sitting next to me, and he doesn't play Destiny at all, so he didn't get why I was like freaking out, so surprised. But yeah, really awesome reveal, really cool surprise, and they did it right at the beginning of the DLC, which really got me hyped to see what was going to happen next. Of course, we didn't really get to see anything else until the very end. Once again, like I said earlier, most of the stuff, in my opinion, between the first and last mission in this DLC for me felt like filler. I'm sorry, but they didn't take the time to make us care about Eris way back in the first game, or kind of like at all in this game so far. So, I mean, let's be honest, like, I'm sorry, I don't care about Eris as a character. I kind of cared about Cade, but that was about it. All the other characters, in my opinion, are still kind of on the weaker side. They're not really likable, they're not too charmable, and you know, I don't think that's because they're bad characters or anything. I think that it's just more that they haven't had enough screen time, they haven't had enough quest and stuff focused on them. Bungie hasn't really done enough to connect them with the players. So yeah, I didn't care about any of that other stuff that was going on between the first and last mission in this DLC. But the last mission was phenomenal. Oh my lord, that last mission was good. Ended kind of abruptly, didn't really like that, but it was cool. Alright, you know, you entered the pyramid ship, which was once again surprising. You know, you're going in there, there's a whole kind of crazy stuff going on with the darkness, and you know, more illusions. You know, your ghost like the veil kind of corrupting and taking over your ghost. At least that's what we think they're going to be called based on leaks, the veil. But yeah, really cool stuff. And for people who don't keep up with the Destiny lore and don't understand what that pyramid is and all this other crazy stuff, apparently the pyramid and the veil, the race that it belongs to, are supposed to be the Traveler's ancient enemies, the ones that the Traveler battled that crippled it above the last safe city and stuff. So pretty much they're kind of like the biggest enemy that we're probably going to face in Destiny. So it was a really big deal that we got our first sneak peek at them in this DLC. Not to mention, that ending cutscene left off on a massive cliffhanger that is going to keep people thinking for the remainder of Destiny's life cycle until we of course get to Destiny 3, where these new enemies are probably going to be the main threat, and you know, we're finally going to start to come face to face with them. And the reason this was such a big deal, obviously, is because it's kind of almost like the player was talking to the darkness itself in a way. Like, and don't get me wrong, the Veil probably, we really don't know how it works. We don't know if the Veil themselves are the darkness. It's the way it's explained, that might be the case. They might be the you know, ultimate servants of the darkness or whatever. We don't really know the case on that, because they've kind of changed that up a lot with Destiny and its lore, and they even at one point, I believe, kind of abandoned the idea of dark and light. I don't know, or at least kind of switched it around from the way it was in Destiny 1. They definitely chose not to focus on with the main campaign of Destiny 2, so that's a little confusing. But yeah, apparently the Veil believe that they are humanity's salvation, and that's really interesting. But they did kind of put it in terms of, we're not your friends or your enemy, we're your salvation. So it kind of to me it sounds like they're saying, you know, join us, let us save you, or be destroyed by us. That's kind of what it sounds like. And who knows, maybe not. Maybe this is going to be more interesting. Maybe they're going to do something more with kind of what they did at the end of Forsaken King, with the line between the light and dark being thin. I don't know. Hopefully they go that route with it, but I don't know. That seems a little complex. That seems a little deep for Destiny. And even if they did go that route, at this point, I still just kind of wonder if Bungie would really put together a proper campaign to do it justice. I don't know. It's kind of disappointing. Like, once again, this DLC was great. The story in it was good and stuff, but it's just more of what I personally don't really enjoy about Destiny's story. I've always been that guy who wishes they would just go all out with the story, but instead they're kind of doing this thing where they're trying to have like this hybrid game between a co-op game, a story game, multiplayer, all these different things. And in my opinion, that lack of focus and stuff is kind of hurting the game, at least in my opinion. But anyway, tell me what you guys think about Destiny 2 Shadowkeep if you played it. Personally, for me, once again, it was good, it was fun, but probably not worth $35. Like, if I'm being honest, like, if you were really super curious about this, you probably could just watch the first and last mission on YouTube and gotten the brunt of the story, or, you know, the important part of the story. Because, I mean, I'm sorry, like, they could have wrapped a few more things up in this. They could have used this to develop characters like Eris a little bit more, but instead, you know, it's just more of that go get bounties from them, and they talk a little bit while you're there. But that's never going to really work in terms of developing characters, in my opinion. So that was very disappointing. I want them to do more of what they did with Cade towards the end, and Forsaken and stuff like that. That would be a lot cooler. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave likes and comments down below to tell me what you guys think. And I will see you guys on the next one. Hit that subscribe button. ZFR out, guys.